Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Jordan. In tonight's video, we are going to be doing another educational recap where I cover some of the top plays from today. I'm going to be showing you guys exactly what I saw, how I got my call triggers, how I got my targets, and why some of these plays turned out to be so great. So I'm going to be covering Snap, SE, and Square. I wanted to do these specifically because these were unbelievable setups, and I think it's extremely important that you guys really understand how to execute on some of these plays. So first, I was telling you guys in the morning that I saw a 65-minute flag on Snap. The level to enter that I had on the watch list and that I was telling our team was 75. So as you guys can see here, this was right below the DTL. I saw the momentum start to pick back up. As you guys can see, Snap was consolidating in this range here. We were in negative momentum and we were looking for a pattern for a breakout. So you guys can see this DTL here, very defined. We have our range here. We have our pivot here, and then we have the point of the breakout. So when looking at these flags, guys, there are three components you really want to pay attention to. That flag range break, which is where you start the flag, that middle point or the pivot, and then ultimately the breakout point. So when price moves out of this downtrend, you guys want to be focusing on the pivots and the range breaks as being the target. So this is very important. This is how you know when to scale out, and this is how you manage your risk. So as you guys can see here, I got this 75 level from this area here. This was an area where Snap was rejecting and having a hard time breaking through. During this time, we formed a flag and I was waiting for buyers to step in and advance price higher. We clearly broke right through this DTL. We crushed our pivot point, we crushed our range break, and we moved up to 77.46. Now I got this 77.46 from this area back here. So as you guys can see, once we made that move out of the range break, we then targeted this high of this candle here and this low. So when you guys are doing analysis on 65-minute charts and 30-minute charts, you guys want to be going back a few sessions and you really want to see where the important support or resistance levels are. So this was very easy to understand. This was an unbelievable play, and I recommend to a lot of people to play Snap because it's a very easy name to play. The spreads are tight, it's a cheaper name, and typically I see a setup all the time with Snap. So this was a great play. We had the setup on the 65-minute, and then now let's look at a shorter term time frame. So this right here is a 15-minute. As you guys can see, our trigger was 75 to enter calls. The RSI momentum was above 50. We got our first 15-minute close above 75. We then made the nice move higher. We met our second target pretty much, as you guys can see here, a couple cents off, and we ended up coming back down to our first target later in the day. So you guys can see on a 15-minute chart, on a 65-minute chart, how I got these levels, and then on a 5-minute too, if you guys wanted to narrow it down even more, you guys can see on the break above in the morning, your risk could have been low a day or a break below VWAP. So you guys can see here, if I really zoom in, we held VWAP and we continued to make the move higher. So a lot of you guys ask me, how do I identify my risk? And it can either be low of day or a break below VWAP. So we got neither on this play, and on the longer term time frames, this was a great entry on Snapchat. Now that I covered that, let's go to SE, which was my personal top play of the day. This was something I had extremely high conviction on, and I knew it would catch a bid if we broke above my call entry. So as you guys can see here, we were rejecting this area here for a couple sessions, and this was the area of interest that I had on my charts. So the call entry was 324.90. As you guys can see, it was the high of this candle right here. Now SE, similar to Snap, was consolidating in this range right here. The RSI momentum is still below 50. We tried to push higher here, and you guys can see we rejected that same spot. So the more times an area of resistance is tested, the more likely we are to break through. It's the same to the downside. So I knew this was about the 5th time that we tested this area, and I had a great feeling that price was going to rip through. We had the RSI back above 50. We had the strong uptick in volume in the morning, as you guys can see here. We had that RSI momentum, and we just kept moving higher right through our trigger. So on some of these plays, I front run or I'm getting in right at the bell because I see a setup like this. Anytime there's this much resistance, that next time that we get there, the more likely we are to break through. Now, how did I get my targets? Now you guys can see here, SE used this 330.51 area of support in the past. Once we established that area of support, we then consolidated and then made that huge move lower. So now that we broke that crucial area of support, once we break above these highs here, that is the first area of interest I'm looking to scale out. So you guys can see we got to that 330.51, and then we even got to our second target as well, which was this low here. So you guys can see there are multiple viewpoints on this. This is the 15-minute. We had a super strong 15-minute candle right out of the open. We used VWAP as support. We got to our first target and we made the move higher into the second. You guys can see how accurate these levels are, how once we broke above our call trigger, how price just ripped right through to our first target and even the second. So on a name like this, the spreads aren't the most friendly, but I saw an unbelievable setup and I knew that I had to take advantage. Anything that has a spread this wide, you guys want to be scaling out faster and you guys want to be collecting premium. So in the morning, if you're getting in here, which I did, you guys want to be scaling out your size into these initial rips, right? So when SE was making this move, I was scaling out 1/4 or half and I was continuing to move my stops up. I did get out once we reached my target. I got out a little bit early here and then I left runners for this move. So you guys can see, first target was met, we pulled back a little bit and then formed a flag. So I tell you guys, in areas of consolidation, you guys really want to be waiting for flags. So sometimes these flags are best in an uptrend. When a stock makes a huge move up like this in the morning, you guys can wait for these flags to form. Now this is pretty interesting because I really want to zoom in here and show you guys something. So once we made that huge move up in the morning, you guys can see a flag was forming here as well. Now where did we break out of the flag? Our first target, 330.51, was also the DTL break of the flag. So you guys can see here, there was an opportunity in the morning. This is when the premium is moving the most. This is where you can make the most amount of money. But then also later in the session, these opportunities arise. So you guys can see, once we got to our first target, we retraced, but we were still in an uptrend, right? Buyers were still in control. The RSI is still above 50. We had a ton of buying volume on our side. So you guys could then wait and identify these patterns later in the day for quick scalps. There was another one on SQ that I'm going to cover next, but this was an unbelievable play. You guys can see how I got my call target, or my trigger rather. It was above this high right here, how I got my targets, and this was a great play. Now for the last one, guys, this is SQ. So this was another play that was great the past 2 days. Obviously with Bitcoin ripping, this is a name that I'm always watching. So first, here is a 5-day, 5-minute. Actually, let me go to a 10-day, 30-minute first here. And you guys can see what I saw a few sessions ago. So this was on Tuesday. I saw this flag forming again on the 30-minute. And guys, the same exact thing. So here we have our first point, the range break of the flag. We have our pivot point, and then we have our breakout. So as you guys can see here, in the morning, we got a break above the flag. We got those closes above. We met our pivot point, and then we met our range break. Now, I really want you guys to notice this. On the pivot point of the flag here, you guys can see once we broke above and got those closes above the flag, we then used that same level as support. So once these resistance areas get broken, once these flag range breaks and pivots get broken, you guys want to be using them as support, especially in the larger time frames, right? These happen on everything. You guys can find these on monthlies, weeklies, dailies, everything. So you guys can see we made that move above our pivot point of the flag. We use it as support, and then this was the stair step for the monster move higher in the following session. So you guys can see that was from that day, and then today there was a quick scalp presented that I saw that I sent out to the team, and that was this one. So first, this is a 5-minute chart, and this is what I saw on SQ. So we were consolidating in this range here. Our level of entry was 248.01, and I tell you guys, in these areas of consolidation, you guys really want to be waiting for a pattern to form. So again, the same exact thing. We have our range break of the flag, we have our pivot point, and then we have our breakout. So you guys can see here, the RSI momentum is above 50, we have stronger volume, and we got the break out of the flag. Once we got that break out of the flag, you guys can see we use that same pivot point as support. And you guys can see if I go to a 15-minute chart, I thought this was really interesting to show you guys as well. So as you guys can see, we have our DTL breakout. We then got our 15-minute close above our level. 248.98 was the level of interest that I said needed to hold. We also got a breakout on volume. So it's very important to understand you guys can draw out these divergences on these indicators as well, right? The RSI and the volume, you guys can draw these out. So you guys can see we had a breakout on the stock. We got the 15-minute close above, and it was supported by a breakout in volume, as you guys can see here. So once we got that 15-minute close above, we used it as support, and we're able to squeeze a few points out of this move. So this was something that didn't happen right at the bell. A lot of times these flags form around 11:30 or 12, so it gives everyone a chance. And the thing is, guys, they are so unbelievably low risk. If you're struggling, you should just be waiting for setups like this all day long. They're very profitable, they're very easy, and you guys can identify your risk up front. So with that being said, guys, I just wanted to do a quick recap so you guys really understand some of the stuff I am seeing, and I hope you guys can continue to study and really learn the stuff that I'm putting out. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.